Yo. Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. I'm a headliner.
Yo, what is going on, Headliner Nation? I've got wide receivers and tight end rankings video here for week 15, and I don't even know if it matters, because it seems like every time I open up Twitter, someone else is on the COVID list. I mean, the amount of guys that are missing or could potentially be missing this week are just unfathomable at this point. And we're heading into the playoffs. Teams are headed down the stretch run. I mean, this could be one of the craziest weeks of football we have ever seen based on all the guys that are missing. So just keep in mind, if you look at this and you say to yourself, oh, that guy's on the COVID list, look at the time the video came out. And if it came out before that happened, you don't even need to comment and let us know, because we already know, but I can't change a video after it's come out. I guarantee you by the time you watch this, something has probably changed. It's just the way this week has been. Make sure that you understand the adjustments that you may need to make if someone ends up being in or someone ends up being out, how that affects their teammates, how it affects this rankings. I mean, there's so many things that are going to be taken into account this week. How do the rankings work, though? Just as a reminder, if you watch a start and sit video, you should be watching this video as well, and vice versa. With my start and sit video, I always look at guys in terms of their floor. Can they hit their 10-point floor for wide receivers, their 8-point floor for tight ends? And if they can't, I list them as a sit. Or if I don't think that it's there, they're a sit. Now, just because I have somebody as a sit doesn't mean that they might not be over somebody who's a start in the rankings, because even though their floor is really low, the rankings are all about the ceilings. And if I think a ceiling is higher somebody else, I'll rank them above them here. So then you can kind of get a good idea of where guys may fall in between. And if you're still interested in becoming a member, even though the fantasy season is almost over, it doesn't matter. We've got a lot of stuff in the works for members of the channel. We've got some things coming up, and ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to want to miss out on it. So if you're still a member, keep it going throughout the off season. It's a huge help to us, and you're going to be getting content all off season long. And if you haven't become a member yet, think about doing it now. Get some extra content before the season's over with. See what it's like, and maybe stick around for the entire offseason. But it's time to hop into it. Let's go right into the wide receiver rankings, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to kick it up with the number one wide receiver in the league right now, Cooper Kupp, followed by Davante Adams and Justin Jefferson. All three of these guys just playing like absolute animals right now. And for some of you, you may have been able to get one, two, or all three of them in your league based on where they fell in the drafts. Deontay Johnson coming in at number 4 against Tennessee. I mean, we're going to see a lot of volume. We're going to be getting the ball out quick. That's what Deontay Johnson is going to make his value off of this week. I think just based on just the upside of volume, all right? Just based on the upside of volume alone, the guy is a top 5 option this week. Deebo Samuel coming in at number 5, whether it's in the slot, out wide, from the backfield, in motion, it doesn't matter. Deebo Samuel can hit you from anywhere. Chris Godwin at number 6. I like the volume this week against New Orleans. Probably not going to see any Marshawn Lattimore, which will help, even though Lattimore has been great this year. Chris Godwin, a lot of volume for him. Tyreek Hill coming all the way down to number 7 for me right now. It's not that I don't like Tyreek Hill. It's just he's got a lot of drops, and that offense right now, it does have some of its ups and downs. Stephon Diggs at number 8 going up against Carolina. Hopefully he gets the touchdown this week. The volume could be a little bit less. Carolina's been really tough against wide receivers this year, but I'm still going to be going with Stephon Diggs. CeeDee Lamb working out of the slot now that everybody's healthy. He's a great mismatch against everybody. Ja'Marr Chase at number 10. T. Higgins has been the better wide receiver as of late, but Ja'Marr Chase and his ability to strike from all over the field still leaves him a little bit over Higgins for me. Keenan Allen coming back off the COVID list this week. Good to see him back. Fantasy owners are going to be excited to get that much needed volume back. Mike Evans at number 12. Even though the ceiling is a little bit lower for me this week, he's still a top 12 option based on the volume he's been getting alone. And plus, even with Lattimore guarding him, Lattimore has given up some big plays this year. And that's what Mike Evans is all about. Tyler Lockett sitting at number 13. It is the Rams. Kind of waiting to see what happens with them, though. It seems like they got so many guys going in and out of the COVID protocols right now. I don't know exactly who's going to be playing this Sunday, so continue to eye that. Lockett, for me, could go as high as number 10, too. Hunter Renfrow at number 14. Last week, we finally got that combination of volume and touchdown, and that's what we've needed. And if you comment on this video and tell me I'm a Hunter Renfrow hater, you're going to have 7 years of bad luck. So I don't know if you really want to do that to you and your family, but I've already set it in motion. I've got voodoo dolls of you all out there who tell me that I'm a Hunter Renfrow hater, because you couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, when he came out of the draft, there may not have been too many people that were higher on him. So get that foolishness out of here. T. Higgins at number 15 going up against Denver. Again, I think Ja'Marr Chase and just his big playability is a little bit higher than T. Higgins in terms of upside right now. Marquise Brown going up against Green Bay. We've seen Green Bay get absolutely shellacked by some really good wide receivers this year. We'll see if Marquise Brown can be another one of those. Amari Cooper coming in at number 17. The ceiling's just a little bit lower because of Michael Gallup being back. DK Metcalf at number 18. I mean, again, no idea what's going to hold this week for the LA Rams. So for DK Metcalf and me, the only thing I'm looking forward to is, hey, can we get him some volume? If we can get him some volume, that's fine. But his ceiling's just really low right now because the connection has not been there with Russell Wilson. Van Jefferson all the way up to number 19 for me against Seattle this week. It sounds like there's going to be no OBJ, who's tested positive for COVID. Don't know if he's going to be able to make it back or not. I don't know vaccination status and all that, because who knows at this point. Van Jefferson, if there's no OBJ, is a high upside play for me this week. Brandon Ayuk at number 20 going up against Atlanta. I just think we see, a little bit on the ground, a lot of Deebo Samuel this week. Brandon Ayuk, if he doesn't get that score, is probably right around the 10, 11, 12 mark based on volume. Devontae Parker, as of right now, is number 21. I could end up going a little bit higher with him, probably maybe even 15-ish. Sounds like Jalen Waddle, and that's news broke just before I started to record. Sounds like Jalen Waddle's headed to the COVID list. Devontae Parker, I did have him a little bit lower. Now I bumped him up, but now because could he end up being a close contact? All of those things. I've just got him a little bit lower right now because I'm not 100% sure what's going on. And for instance, like a guy with Hunter Renfrow, like I'd rather play him on Saturday. I'd rather play a guy like, Keenan Allen on Thursday ahead of him, Tyreek Hill on Thursday ahead of him. Just some guys ahead of him right now that are going to be playing before he does at that 1 o'clock slot on Sunday, just in case something does pop up later in the week. Mike Williams on Thursday going up against Kansas City. Last week, there was no Keenan Allen, and he still didn't really have that high of a ceiling. Brandon Cooks, Jacksonville, number 23. Brandon Cooks, him and Davis Mills, hopefully they start to vibe a little bit more together. Him and Nico Collins, lots of targets last week. Christian Kirk coming in at number 24. No more DeAndre Hopkins this season. So Christian Kirk is sitting at number 24 for me. He could end up going a little bit higher, but it's Detroit. I mean, they're playing Detroit this week. A lot of James Conner, if he ends up being healthy. Chase Edmonds, if he ends up getting back. There's just some things up in the air with that team right now, so I've got him a little bit lower. DJ Moore at 25, even with the hammy injury, it sounds like he's going to be going this week, but it is a really tough matchup. Michael Pittman Jr. at number 26. New England's just so good at taking away top weapons. That's why I've got a ceiling lower this week. AJ Green, again, facing Detroit, what's going to happen? Going to be running the ball more, everything like that. Terry McLaurin at number 28. I don't know what's going on with the concussion. Still in the protocol as of right now. Doesn't play until Sunday, the early Sunday games. We've got 2 Saturday games this week and a Thursday night game. So for me, I've just got a ceiling just a little bit lower in case he doesn't make it out. Chase Claypool at number 29. I mean, there is the ability for upside here, but I had his floor much lower than 10 points this week. Just worried about, what's going to happen. Is he going to be facing some sort of a punishment? Maybe not an actual punishment where they come out and say, oh, he's going to be sitting, but just one of those things where he doesn't get the targets or he's off the field, more than usual or whatever, just because of his antics as of late. Do they feel like they need to make a point with him? If any of that happens, his floor is a lot lower, but his ceiling is going to be higher this week because it's Tennessee. Darnell Mooney, Minnesota on Monday Night Football. He's coming in at number 30 for me. Justin Fields likes to target himself some Darnell Mooney. He's been down the last couple of weeks, but this is a Minnesota team that allows the most fantasy points to wide receivers. Michael Gallup at number 31. Again, that ceiling's just a little bit lower because you've got so many weapons there. KJ Osborne at number 32. Probably no Adam Thielen again this week, which gives KJ Osborne some good touchdown upside. Donovan Peoples-Jones at number 33 on Saturday. Now we know that as far as COVID issues, Cleveland is right up there with everybody in terms of issues. So for Donovan Peoples-Jones at this point, no Jarvis Landry, it sounds like. All the tight ends could end up being out this week. There's just so much concern. Kareem Hunt missing time again, it looks like. So because of all of that, DPJ has an ability to just snap off a couple big plays this week and make your whole week worth it. Devontae Smith going up against Washington, another team that has struggled at times this year against wide receivers. Really, for me, it depends on what Jalen Hurts shows up. Allen Lazard, I like him out of the slot this week, going up against Baltimore. Maybe not as much upside as some other guys around him, but definitely upside in terms of volume. If he scores, it goes even higher than that. Russell Gage at number 36. Not a whole lot of upside, but he's getting so many targets right now. He's definitely in the top 50. Julio Jones is going to be the number one option going up against Pittsburgh, coming in at number 37. Kendrick Bourne, Indianapolis, number 38. He's the touchdown guy right now for this team. If he doesn't score, he's a little bit lower. Amon-Ra St. Brown at number 39, 24 targets 24 targets over the last 2 games. Hopefully that continues this week against Arizona. Jerry Jeudy against Cincinnati. I've got him as a sit. Ceiling wise, it's still kind of in this area, but I'm done with the Denver wide receivers at this point. Cole Beasley at number 41 going up against Carolina. Another tough matchup. Dawson Knox takes a lot from him. Sterling Shepard at number 42. Just got him lower on it because I'm just worried about him re-aggravating an injury and things of that nature, but hopefully he can get back to some of that volume that we saw earlier in the season. Marvin Jones Jr., I'm going to slip him into the top 40, the top 50 here. You never know. No more Urban Meyer. Yes. Thank you. Now, if we can just get Matt Nagy out of here. But Marvin Jones Jr., maybe that offense looks a little different this week. Marquez Valdes-Scantling coming in at number 44. Touchdown upside on the outside. Obviously, no Marlon Humphrey right now for Baltimore. It gives them a little bit of an advantage. Jamison Crowder going up against Miami. Didn't see anything from him last week. Can he get back to some of that volume this week? Jacoby Myers. Volume could be there against Indianapolis, but the touchdowns have been missing all season long. Nico Collins at number 47 going up against Jacksonville. 10 targets last week. Can we get him 10 targets again? Josh Reynolds averaging 19 yards per reception since joining the Detroit Lions. Rashad Bateman coming in at number 49 going up against Green Bay. If he gets the number 3 volume, he goes higher than this. But if they mix and match a little bit and spread it around, he goes lower. And then Cortland Sutton at number 50. Again, done with the Denver wide receivers at this point, but it is, Cincinnati, a shootout potential game where Denver's going to have to be throwing it a little bit. Want to make sure I include him in there just in case. For the tight end position at this point, this is the first time in a long time that I have not had Travis Kelce as my 1, my 2, or even my 3. George Kittle's coming in at number 1 right now. He's the hottest tight end in the league, and it's going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Rob Gronkowski going up against New Orleans. You can expect him to just eat away, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Andrews coming in at Green Bay. All 3 of these guys right now, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, probably the number 1 targets. George Kittle, maybe 1A, 1B to Deebo Samuel. Mark Andrews, 1A, 1B to Marquise Brown. Rob Gronkowski, probably coming in at 3rd, but again, he's getting just as many looks as Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and we know Tom Brady loves himself some Rob Gronkowski. Travis Kelce falls to number 4 for me this week. Just been inconsistent performances all season long. We talked about the other day. Since his back-to-back 100-yard performances in weeks 2 and 3, he's only gone over 90 receiving yards once. That's not great for Travis Kelce, a guy that we've been so used to dominating. I just got him a little bit lower because I just like the upside and the usage and the offenses of these other guys right now. Dawson Knox at number 5, still, coming in tied for the league lead in touchdowns. We saw him kind of bounce back last week. Dawson Knox absolutely balling out now. Love it. Dallas Goedert going up against Washington. Good matchup for him. Hopefully he gets back to that performance we saw a couple of weeks ago. Mike Gesicki makes a big jump for me with no Jalen Waddle anymore. And really, it feels like all of the running backs missing from Miami this week. Zach Ertz going up against Detroit. No DeAndre Hopkins is going to give Zach Ertz a little bit more opportunity now. Kyle Pitts coming in at number 9, going up against San Francisco. The volume's going to be there. We know he's going to get 7, 8, 9 targets. It's just, can we get some big plays and a touchdown? Pat Freiermuth. Going up against Tennessee, great touchdown upside. Just, will the volume be there? That's the thing at this point. Will the volume be there? Ricky Seals-Jones at number 11. Going up against Philadelphia. Philadelphia allows the most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Ricky Seals-Jones really in a great position this week. TJ Hockenson at number 12. He's basically doubtful for right now. If he does play for some reason, this is probably where he slots in for me. Dalton Schultz at number 13. I just don't like him this week. I'm very worried about the volume. Only got 3 targets last week. If you're going to be getting, 30 plus targets to Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, throw CD Lamb in there, throw Zeke or Tony Pollard in there, then you're going to have to be throwing it 40 times a game as Dak Prescott to give Dalton Schultz even 5 targets. Tyler Conklin missed Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry coming in at number 14, touchdown upside. Volume just hasn't really been there this season. Tyler Conklin going up against Chicago with no Adam Thielen, kind of like a little Tyler Conklin to get more involved this week. Cole Kmet, he's been a safety valve for Justin Fields. Can we get back to that this week? Foster Moreau, probably no Darren Waller again this week. Moreau has not been that great since Waller's been hurt, so I've got him much lower at this point. Tyler Higbee had a false positive last week, had to miss. He should be in there this week. And then Noah Fant and Albert, are you okay? Coming in back-to-back at 19 and 20 because they're basically splitting everything, so we might as well have them right next to each other. But ladies and gentlemen, did I say lady? Did I not finish it? Ladies, because there's probably more than one of you watching. And gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Fantasy Headliners. Broke down my top 50 wide receivers, my top 20 tight ends for you. If you're new here to the channel, got to hit that subscribe button. Stick around all offseason. Lots of great content coming to finish out the year into 2022 and the 2022 season. Make sure you leave me a comment down below as well as liking the video too. Who is your top scoring options at wide receiver and tight end this week? I'm going to get out of here though. All of you stay safe. All of you stay healthy. Don't forget the live show this week is on Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune in. I'm going to get out of here though. All of you stay safe and healthy, and I will see you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.